Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my favorite face products for dry skin, including skincare, primers, foundations, just a bunch of products that I find that work really well for my dry skin. So if you guys are interested in hearing about my favorite face products for dry skin, then just keep on watching. So my face has always been pretty dry, and all these products I'm going to share with you guys are products that I've been using probably in the past year or two that have really made a difference on how makeup applies, how makeup sits on my skin, how it looks throughout the day, to still look really natural and not feel like I have like dry patches or just like I have really dry skin and a bunch of product on top of it. I like to start with skincare, and I do have a whole skincare video on my channel. I always get questions about my skincare, and I only filmed that maybe 6 weeks ago or so. So I'll leave it down below for you guys because nothing has changed. I maybe added like a couple masks here and there, but everything that I use like day and night is in that video. I'm just gonna mention the two products that I use in the morning to prep my skin before makeup. So for the past year, I've been really into gel moisturizers, and this one from Bioderma has been my favorite. It's called the Hydrate Balm, and this is actually for normal to combination skin, but I really love it for dry skin. It's super hydrating. It actually like absorbs into your skin so you don't feel any residue from it. So this works perfectly under makeup. It basically works like a primer. You can use it as a primer. I love this for a morning moisturizer, and I've also been loving the H2o Skin Drink from Pixie. I feel like I can basically layer this on and it's just gonna absorb into my skin because it's so lightweight. I'll show you guys the difference in the texture between both of these. This is basically like a really light gel, and the Bioderma one is a little bit more, has like a moisturizer consistency. It's a little bit thicker, but it's still very lightweight at the same time. So both of those moisturizers are definitely amazing. I just rotate between the two of these every single day. I want to say I've been using the Pixie one more because I'm running out of my Bioderma one, but I think that I'll like the Pixie one during the summer more because it feels a little bit more cooling on the skin. And Bioderma, this one was awesome during the winter too. It was super moisturizing. Even though it is lightweight, it's still really hydrating. So I'm just gonna go in order of how I apply everything. So I started off with my moisturizer, and then next I would go into this Hydrating Milky Mist from Pixie. I talked about this in my March favorites. I love this. It's super hydrating, but it actually like absorbs into your skin right away. So I love it. It is very calming too. It has black oat, so if you have sensitive skin, that's something that can help with that. So I definitely love this. It's just like a hydrating mist. Yes, it's called Hydrating Mist. That's what it is. So I love it. If you have dry skin but you don't want to feel a lot of product on your face, or you don't like the feeling of a lot of moisturizer, then definitely try this product out. And next, this product was in that favorites video too, I believe. And this is the Prep and Hydrate Balm from e.l.f. I am so obsessed. This is going to be so awesome for the summer. I want to actually try putting this in my fridge because it has a cooling effect. And I feel like that would be so awesome to like actually cool down your skin or make your skin just feel like refreshed in the middle of the day or something. So I have been loving this. It's basically like a balm. Like you can't even see anything. It's so lightweight. So that's basically the theme here. Like everything is really hydrating, but it's not like a ton of moisturizer, like a thick layer of product on your face. So this is very great under makeup, under a primer, or you can use it as a primer just to hydrate your skin. So what I like to do, I'll do my moisturizer, I'll do my hair, then I'll go in and I'll apply this. Right after, I'll apply this and then just let that sink in for like 5 minutes. Move on to my brows or my eye makeup before I go into the rest of my makeup. So both of these work really great if you have drier skin but you don't want to add a ton of like product to your face. Next, I do spray on one more product, and you guys have heard me talk about this a lot. It's the primer water from Smashbox. I've been using this daily for over a year. No matter what kind of primer, foundation I'm using, I love to use this first. It's super hydrating, but it also basically just feels like water when you spray it on. So you don't feel like you're adding a bunch of products to your face, but it's still really hydrating. So I've said it before that it's basically like Gatorade for your face. That's the effect that it gives if your skin is feeling dull, or if that makes sense, if your skin just like feels like it needs some hydration from within, this is the product that I like to use. So I just layer on all of these right before my primer and just let them sink in for a few minutes and then move into some primer. So I have 4 primers for different reasons that I like to use for dry skin. So the 2 primers that I use the most are Hydrating Primers. One you guys have heard me talk about a lot. It's the Hangover X from Too Faced. This is just like a very good staple hydrating primer. Some people find it a little too oily. For me, it's not too oily. It's very lightweight. It's basically just like a lightweight moisturizer. It blends in really quickly, really easily. I definitely don't feel any stickiness or residue on my face once I apply it. I know some people really don't like it, but I love this primer. If you don't like this primer, but you like the idea of it, I would recommend the Hydrating Primer from Makeup Forever. This is a lot pricier. It's actually like, okay, this little sample I think is like $19 just to give you guys a reference, and I think the full size is close to $40. So it's not crazy, but it is pricey. So I like this primer because it actually seeps into your skin. You don't feel it at all. If you feel like you have a lot of residue with this one, I think that you would definitely prefer this primer. I've never felt like a residue or any kind of weird effect from using this primer. It also has like a very calming scent to it. So these are my 2 favorites for just like straight up hydration and no added like pore filling effect or anything. And then to actually soften your skin, I love the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. This is hydrating, but not super hydrating. It's basically like a lightweight pore filling primer. It's not gonna like cover every pore in your life, but this actually does work out nicely to give you more of a flawless effect on your skin before applying foundation. It's very like gentle. It's not something that's very thick. And then if you want more of a pore filling effect, I think my favorite would be the Pore Vanishing Stick from Estee Edit. So this is silicone base, and I don't really like silicone based primers, but I do really like this one. This is just like a silicone primer. It's a stick, and you can just see like it has a blurring effect, but it doesn't have like a lot of texture to it when you apply it. I prefer this to something like the Benefit Professional or the Dr. Brandt Pore No More. Those products, they work really great, but they are a little bit more drying. They're more of a moussey product, and this is something that's creamier. It's gonna glide on your skin a lot easier without being like slippery or feel like a lot of product on your face. So I definitely love this if you guys have dry skin and you want something pore filling, or if you have any kind of skin and you want something pore filling, this works really great. And if you don't like products like the Benefit Professional because they're like too much texture or just like a heavy product, you would probably like this because it is more creamy. It's something that's easier to glide onto your skin and like diffuse out really easily. So those are my primers, and then I have a couple tricks before I actually apply my foundation. And one of them is oils. So you guys have seen me use these a ton on Instagram. I'll go in with a stick foundation and just apply a dot of oil to make the application a little bit smoother. And the oils that I like to use, I have this one from Derma E. I believe it's like $20. And then I also been liking the Jouer Daily Repair Treatment Oil. I pretty much like them the same. I've been using a bunch of different oils, but these are the ones that I've been going back to. So I like to apply the oil a couple different ways. If I'm using a stick foundation, I'll just use maybe like 2 or 3 drops and apply it directly onto the stick foundation, rub it onto my face, and then buff it out with a beauty blender. When I do that, it makes the stick foundation like glide on a lot easier. It doesn't make the foundation like any more greasy. It makes it a little bit more dewy, but it doesn't add like so much radiance unless you were to add a ton of oil. But with like 1 or 2 to 3 drops, you're not gonna get super of a dewy effect. It's just gonna add a little bit of a glow and make sure that your skin stays hydrated. And then with liquid foundation, I like to use whatever tool I'm using to apply my foundation and just put the oil directly onto that. So if I'm using a foundation brush, I'll just apply my foundation onto the brush and then maybe like 2 drops of the oil and then buff it into my skin. And with a beauty blender, I could just apply the oil directly onto the beauty blender. I've also just directly applied oil onto my face, and that actually works out really nicely. It doesn't make my skin like super greasy or anything. It actually makes the foundation really easy to apply. So I like using all those different methods to apply oil, and just like no more than 3 drops and I'm good. If you do more than that, it might be like really oily, but just a little bit definitely goes a long way with facial oils, and I don't find that they like make me break out or anything. So those are two that I definitely recommend, but I know a lot of other ones basically can give you the same effect. And then if I want something that's not as thick as oil, I've been using the Pixie Glow Mist. This is basically like a cross between a primer spray and an oil, and this has argan oil in it, so it does have oil, but it's a lot more lightweight. And what I like to do is either do the same thing, just apply it onto my brush, which is what I did today. I'll apply it onto my brush before I apply the foundation. So I'll do like 2 or 3 sprays and then like 2 pumps of foundation and just apply it. And it adds just a little bit of luminosity. And I also like to actually just apply it onto my beauty blender, like 2 or 3 sprays after I already put my foundation on my face, and buff it into my skin. And there's one more way I like to use this. Oh, what I'll do also, if my foundation feels too matte, I'll go in with either a clean beauty blender or just the beauty blender I was using and just spray it a little bit and just buff it into my skin to take away some of that matte or like powdery feeling on my skin. So I've really been liking this too. If you don't want something that's like feels too heavy or oily, if you think that oils are a little too much product, then definitely try this out. I don't always like it so much just on its own, especially like at the end of my makeup. I think it's too dewy, but I've used like a really matte foundation where like I couldn't move my face, and I'll spray this on before I set my foundation with powder, and it makes it a little bit more luminous and easy to work with. So I don't really like to use this as a setting spray, but even if my face is like too matte before I finish the rest of my makeup, like I just did my foundation, concealer, and it's just feeling too matte, then I'll spray it directly onto my face. But I basically like to diffuse it out by using a beauty blender or a brush and just using a little bit of product at a time, because it's also a spray, so if you get like too much at once, there's like no going back. It's not like a drop of oil where you can just like hide it from like one place. When you do spray this on your face, it's gonna get all over your face, so you want to make sure that you just use a little bit at a time. So next, moving into foundation. So you guys know my favorite foundation of all time is the Makeup Forever HD foundation. I'm wearing it today. It's very lightweight. It's like a medium coverage, and you could definitely build it up. It's something that's also, it's just a light foundation. Like, it doesn't feel heavy at all, which is something I don't like on dry skin. I don't want the feeling of something that basically feels like paint on my skin. So I definitely really like this. It has kind of like a demi matte finish. It's a very natural finish, which I really like. It doesn't look like a forced dewy effect and a forced matte effect. It's basically right in the middle, and it does last all day. It's super long wearing, so this is my favorite foundation just all around for dry skin, for normal skin. Then something that's pretty similar from the drugstore is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow foundation. I have been loving this foundation all over again. This is probably my favorite drugstore foundation. It's also pretty lightweight. It gives you really good coverage. It is glowy, but it's not like super dewy. And when I first tried this, I was in really humid weather and I thought it was okay. Like, I liked the coverage, but it just felt like super dewy on my skin. So if you're in like really humid temperatures, you probably won't like this. It might be like too dewy. But now, like, it's mild, it's spring, it's something that works really nicely if I go to touch my face throughout the day. I don't feel like foundation coming off. It doesn't feel like so dewy. So I definitely love it. It's very lightweight and glowy at the same time. Then my last foundation is from Hourglass. It's the Vanishing Stick Foundation. And this is one of my favorite stick foundations. It's something that's more full coverage. It's pricier too, but it's definitely worth it to me. It doesn't come with a ton of product, but a little definitely does go a long way. So I definitely recommend this stick foundation if you want something that's more full coverage, but still looks really natural and you have drier skin, because it is creamier. It's really easy to apply, but it has a really nice finish to it. It's a little bit more matte. It's not like super matte or drying, so I definitely love that if you want something that's more full coverage on dry skin. And then I also thought I should mention some concealers, which might seem a little bit weird, but these are concealers that work really nice for dry skin, especially if you like to conceal down the center of your face. And sometimes, like, some of my favorite concealers just feel really drying or make my skin look dull once I apply them down the center of my face because they're really mattifying. So probably my favorite concealer is the Born This Way concealer from Too Faced. I know not a lot of people like this. I can understand why. It's more light coverage. It is buildable, but I like to use a color corrector anyways. But I really love this concealer because it's very hydrating. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a lot of product, and down the center of my face, it just works really nice to give like a glowy effect without looking like there's like strips of light paint on the center of my face like some other concealers. And then for drugstore, I've been loving the liquid camouflage from Catrice Cosmetics. This is actually better coverage than the Too Faced one. It is more full coverage, but it's also really hydrating too. So something like the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer, I love that concealer under my eyes, but when I put it down the center of my face, it's just so drying. Like it just looks like I put a bunch of products down the center of my face. It doesn't look natural because it's just more of a matte and drying concealer. So both of these look really natural on dry skin. They hydrate the skin really nicely. This is like $26. This is like $6. And if you don't like this one, you might like this one because it does have more of a full coverage effect. And then I also have one face powder. You guys know I love this powder, but if you have dry skin, I think you guys should definitely check this out. It's the Prep Set and Glow powder from Milani. I've already hit pan on it. I have been loving it, and I was nervous to use this because I actually like matte setting powders. And this actually does mattify your skin, but it doesn't leave it very matte where it looks like really harsh or dry. So I love this if you want to set your foundation, set your concealer. This is a really great powder because it does leave your skin matte, but it still looks really natural and looks really glowy. So this is definitely perfect for drier skin or just like a summer powder where you want to look a little bit more glowy. Then definitely check out the Prep Set and Glow from Milani. So lastly, I have my two favorite setting sprays, and I've come to the conclusion that like I'm not a setting spray person. I love sprays. Obviously, I mentioned like 17 sprays in this video, but I don't like setting sprays. I feel like because I do have drier skin, my makeup holds up, which is one of the advantages. My skin doesn't like get oily as often throughout the day. My makeup doesn't wear off as easily throughout the day. So if I spray something on my skin like the Urban Decay All Nighter, it basically feels like I just sprayed hairspray on my face. Like it feels like it makes my skin feel very tight. So I don't really like those sprays. I feel like I've been using them for so long, and I just like said it out loud for the first time that I don't like setting sprays. But these are two sprays that I definitely love and can't live without because they actually make my makeup look really natural. It's not so much of like making my makeup last, but they just make my makeup look really natural and give my face like a really nice finish. So first I have MAC Fix Plus, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with or use regularly. This is basically the only setting spray I like to use. A lot of people say it doesn't make your makeup last longer, but I feel like I like to refresh my makeup by using this. So if it's been hours, if I want to touch on my makeup or add some powder, then I'll just add this afterwards, and it basically looks like I just did my makeup. And it's just like something that's really refreshing. It takes away any kind of powdery effect to my makeup. If my foundation's too powdery, I will go in and just spray my beauty blender and just like tap it out onto my face, and it just looks really natural. So I love Fix Plus. It's something that actually gives my makeup a really nice effect. If my skin's feeling dry throughout the day, that's the perfect refresher spray. And then I've also been loving the Make It Last spray by Milani. I've talked about this already. I'm basically halfway done with my first bottle. And you can use this as a primer water too, and it works really nicely as a primer spray because it's really hydrating. It has a fragrance to it, which I really love, and it's supposed to keep your makeup on for 16 hours. I don't really notice a difference between using this or this. I just know that I love them both. So basically, if you love Fix Plus but you want a cheaper alternative, check out the Make It Last spray from Milani. Alright guys, so that's everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed hearing about all of my favorite face products for dry skin. I will leave all of the products that I mentioned in my description bar, as well as any open giveaways I have going on right now. So make sure you're checking that out if you want to know about giveaways or any products that I mentioned. If you have any questions about the products that I mentioned, just let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know what your favorite face products are in the comments. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.